In today's show, it's been 2 years since the big crash. I'm going to be sharing with you the 5 things you need to know about Bitcoin this week. And as Cane Island Digital Research shares here, Bitcoin volume is a horrible indicator of price, but it is a decent indicator of sentiment. It's hard to think that volume could go much lower, which means Bitcoin must be close to a bottom. And Mark Yusko, the CIO and CEO of Morgan Creek Capital, he agrees and says the Bitcoin sentiment getting close to being washed out. And Philip Swift, crypto analyst from Decent Trader, says Bitcoin balance on exchanges making new lows. And as Sentiment Analytics shares here, this week will be big for crypto and equity traders as the Fed is expected to decide on a quarter-point rate hike this week. Bitcoin and Ethereum has been pegged to the S&P 500 in 2022, and these decisions should impact cryptocurrencies greatly. And as shared here by Crypto Tony, Bitcoin macro update, we are yet to see the capitulation dip as per every other macro dip we have seen. Also in today's show, crypto versus the physical, Michael Saylor and Elon Musk inflation debate boils down to scarcity. Quoting them here on crypto Twitter, Elon Musk asks, what are your thoughts about the probable inflation rate over the next few years? And the Giga Chad responded, USD consumer inflation will continue near all-time highs. The asset inflation will run at double the rate of consumer inflation. Weaker currencies will collapse, and the flight of capital from cash, debt, and value stocks to scarce property like Bitcoin will intensify. And then Elon Musk added, I still own and won't sell my Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Doge for what it's worth. Also in today's show, hedge fund billionaire Anthony Scaramucci predicts Bitcoin rally as inflation and war tensions cool down. That's right, he was recently interviewed and goes on to say, I see Bitcoin in its current status as an early adopting technological asset. I think Bitcoin will be used in many Latin American countries as legal tender over time, not just El Salvador, but other countries. When it gets to 1 billion wallets, then I think it's a mature asset. We could have a conversation about whether or not it operates as an inflation hedge. And he also says he can see the Bitcoin price rallying to $100,000 in the next 12 to 18 months. Also in today's show, crypto analyst predicts Bitcoin rally to new all-time highs and names 2 bullish catalysts for the king crypto. That's right, the synonymous analyst Pentoshi sees a potential scenario where Bitcoin continues to print bullish higher low setups and ignites a parabolic rally to $72,000. Also in today's show, we'll be taking a look at the overall crypto market. As you can see, Bitcoin and Ether are currently pumping while some of the alts are correcting and in the red. But where's the Bitcoin price likely to go next? Find out all this, plus so much more, in today's show. Here at Crypto News Alerts, I drop a brand new episode every single day. The goal is to get to 100,000 subs, along with a $100,000 Bitcoin price. If you like getting that crypto, be sure to smash that subscribe button. That's right, and ring that bell to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium Crypto News Alerts every single day, just like this. And today's episode is brought to you by BlockFi, the #1 leading provider of financial products and services for crypto investors. And right now, you can get up to $250 in Bitcoin when you buy crypto or fund your account today with BlockFi. Be sure to use my referral link in the description right down below. Right now, there are more than 500,000 people and 350 institutions globally using BlockFi to manage over $10 billion in assets. And here are some of their flagship products, which includes their trading platform where you can buy, sell, and trade the top cryptocurrencies. You can do instant trades with ACH. You can trade 24/7, 365. Another flagship product I love is their BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards Visa credit card, where you can earn an unlimited 1.5% back in Bitcoin on everything you buy. There are no annual fees, no foreign transaction fees, and you can see if you're approved with no impact to your credit score. Also like to point out, for your first 90 days, you're actually going to earn 3.5% Bitcoin back on all your purchases, truly making this a no-brainer. So go ahead and click my referral link in the description right down below to get up to $250 in Bitcoin, and let's start stacking those sats, shall we? All right, welcome back to another episode of Crypto News Alerts. I'm your host, JV. How's it going, crypto fam? Holla at your boy in the live chat. Now for the 5 things to watch out for in the Bitcoin market this week. Russia, China, inflation, and the Fed. That's right, fight it or not, the Fed is the likely kingmaker when it comes to crypto performance this week. Also like to point out, 1 year ago on this date, the Bitcoin price surged to $65,000. Let that sink in. On March 16th, policymakers will decide whether or not to proceed with a key interest rate hike, which has been expected since last year. The Fed has a problem. Inflation is running hot. Bitcoin has already shown itself to be firmly attached to U.S. equities, and any knee-jerk reactions to the Fed will likely be copied. Quoting Sentiment Analytics here, this week will be big for crypto and equity traders as the Fed is expected to decide on quarter-point rate hike this week. Bitcoin and Ethereum have been pegged to the S&P 500 in 2022, and these decisions should impact cryptocurrencies greatly. And regarding the European market, quoting RNAB NASCAR here, tomorrow, March 14th, the European Parliament Econ Committee will vote on the MiCA, the regulation that will define the course of cryptocurrency adoption in the EU. Bitcoin may face discriminatory treatment due to proof of work consensus. So there you have it. Now for the next factor to keep your eyes out on this week. The spot price celebrates 2 years since the big crash. As Crypto Tony shares here, Bitcoin macro update, where yet to see the capitulation dip. As per every other macro dip we have seen, an on-chain analyst, Dylan Leclerc, shares, today is the 2-year anniversary of Bitcoin's supposed death. Congrats on those who bought the dip. Legendary stuff. And he also shares, probably shouldn't post this, but I bought the dip with money from student loans. And you can see all these buys from back in 2020, $600, $1,000, $300, $300, $100, $100, and $100. So congrats on stacking them sats, Dylan Leclerc. Very smart move, my man. And as Plan C shares here, very important post, the floor Bitcoin price of the accumulation phases was within 0 to 29 days of the last 3 crosses. We had a cross 9 days ago. Will history repeat? Last 3 times resulted in a Bitcoin price drop to my Confluence floor model, currently at $26,820, which you can see here in this chart. And he also adds, I am not convinced we go to 27,000, but if history repeats for a 4th straight time, that could go to the lows of this accumulation phase. And Kevin Svensson chimed in, this chart makes it seem likely we do see one final dip before a floor is created. I don't think this bear will be anywhere as bad as the previous one. Your targets seem reasonable. Really great chart. Now for the third factor to keep your eyes out on this week in the Bitcoin market, accumulation provides faint silver lining. That's right, on the topic of accumulation, it appears that it is not all bad news when it comes to the demand for Bitcoin at the current prices. As previously reported, whales have been active in recent days, while the proportion of the overall Bitcoin supply controlled by smaller investors has reached a 1-year high. Now those habits are being reflected in the continued fresh lows in exchanges supply. The changes were noted by crypto analyst Philip Swift, creator of the on-chain analytics resource Look into Bitcoin, on March 1st. And shout out to Philip Swift. I previously had him as a guest here on the show, as he tweeted here, Bitcoin balance on exchanges making new lows. And separate data from on-chain analytics firm CryptoQuant confirms the trend and shows that out of the 21 major exchanges that it covers, Bitcoin balances are at their combined lowest since early August of 2018 at 2.32 million BTC. And also, on-chain analytics platform Glassnode shared the following. During the highly volatile macro and geopolitical events of the last few weeks, exchange net flow volumes are also reasonably stable, despite a slight bias towards inflows this week. Now for the 4th factor to keep your eyes out on this week in the Bitcoin market, market sentiment impresses no one. That's right, unsurprising perhaps, but Bitcoin and wider crypto sentiment is pointing firmly downhill this week. After 2 months of ranging and fakeouts, the bulls are tired and the threat of a macro-induced capitulation hangs in the air. Quoting On-Chain College here, Bitcoin sentiment feels worse now than July of 2021, in my opinion, and prices over 8,000 higher now versus the July 2021 low. And quoting Cane Island Digital Research, Bitcoin volume is a horrible indicator of price, but it is a decent indicator of sentiment. It's hard to think that volume could go much lower, which means Bitcoin must be close to a bottom. And Mark Yusko agrees. He is the CEO of Morgan Creek Capital. He says, sentiment getting close to washed out. That's right. Now for the 5th and final factor to keep your eyes out on this week in the Bitcoin market. Is it blast off for volcano bonds? That's right, March 15th was the expected release date of these volcano bonds in El Salvador. The country which became the first to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender last year has since turned to geothermal energy from a volcano to mine BTC. Shout out to Nayib Bukele, their president, and to that end it is now seeking long-term investment partnerships by issuing bonds tied directly to Bitcoin mining, a move which has commentators excited about serious money potentially flowing into the ecosystem. While the exact date of the bond's issuance, expected to attract $1 billion, remains unknown, suspicions are mounting that it could come this week. And aside from the benefits of using cash to invest into BTC, the long-term consequences of El Salvador's plan, if successful, should be underestimated as a shift in the global economic paradigm, according to former Blockstream Chief Strategy Officer Samson Mao, who is also running for mayor of Bitcoin City. So shout out to Samson Mao. In a new interview with Saifedean Ammous on the Bitcoin Standard podcast this weekend, Mao was upbeat as anyone on the outlook, quoting him here. So if El Salvador pulls off this bond, then it shows the world that you don't need to rely on the IMF or any central lending institute that doesn't necessarily have your best interests at heart, but you can just fund everything with Bitcoin Bitcoin-backed bonds. Touche. And before I break down next story of the day, crypto versus the physical, Elon Musk and Michael Saylor go back and forth in an inflation debate, boiling down to scarcity. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market. As you can see, Bitcoin barely in the green, up 0.13% at the time of this recording, trading just above $38,800. We have Luna up 6%, trading above $92.43. Ether up 1.3%, trading just under $2,600. Solana up 0.5%, trading at $80.72. While Polkadot, XRP, Binance Coin, and Avalanche all correcting and in the red. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. As rising inflation threatens to eat up, furthering the purchasing power of the global fiat ecosystem, finding the perfect hedge against a falling economy has become the need of the hour, especially for the general public across the world. And joining this discussion online, we have Tesla CEO, who asked publicly about the probable inflation rate over the next few years to gauge the notion of global investors. And sharing his thoughts on the matter, we have American billionaire and MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor, who holds over 125,000 BTC. He opined that with rising inflation, he expects the capital cash flow will move away from traditional fiat into scarce assets such as Bitcoin. And it was all started here by this question by Elon on crypto Twitter. What are your thoughts about probable inflation rate over the next few years? In which the Giga Chad responded, USD consumer inflation will continue near all-time highs, and asset inflation will run at double the rate of consumer inflation. Weaker currencies will collapse, and the flight of capital from cash, debt, and value stocks to scarce property like Bitcoin will intensify. And while the general public joined in on the discussion, dismissing Saylor's suggestion of using Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation due to personal investments, must acknowledge that the predominantly scarce assets such as physical property and company stocks help investors maintain their purchasing power against high inflations. As he shares here, it is not entirely unpredictable that you would reach that conclusion. As a general principle, for those looking for advice from this thread, it is generally better to own physical things like a home or stock in companies you think make good products than dollars. When inflation is high, I still own and won't sell my Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Doge for what it's worth. And he also says that Tesla will make some merch buyable with Doge and see how it goes. Now, back in December of 2021, Elon confirmed that Tesla will start accepting Doge for merchandise, spiking the meme's token price by 25%, which you can clearly see here in this chart. However, Elon's latest tweet in support of cryptos has yet to have any positive impact on the dwindling prices. And in an effort to improve the legitimacy of its thriving ecosystem, the Dogecoin Foundation registered Doge and its associated logos as trademarks in the European Union. You can't make this stuff up, folks. Check out this tweet from the Dogecoin Foundation. Much success. It's a small victory that seems so very irrelevant given all that's currently happening in the world, but it's an important step. And they go on to share, given an increasing number of bad faith attempts to register trademarks for Doge, Dogecoin, and even the logos created for Dogecoin by Christine Ricks, by people and organizations, we had no option but to register them to protect all the good sheeps in the Dogecoin community. So there you have it. And before I break down next story of the day, hedge fund billionaire Anthony Scaramucci predicts Bitcoin rally as inflation and war tensions cool down. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market cap, sitting just above $1.7 trillion with $72.5 billion in volume of the past 24 hours. The current Bitcoin dominance is 42.6%, with the Ether dominance at 17.8%. And checking out the top cryptocurrency gainers for the week, we have Rune up a whopping 55%, Zcash up 39%, Waves up 35%, and STX up 15%. And checking out one of my favorite indicators is the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Shows we're currently rated a 23 out of 100 in extreme fear. Yesterday a 21, last week a 23, and last month a 44 in fear. And if you're not familiar with the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, extreme fear can be a sign investors are too worried. That could be a great buying opportunity like we're witnessing right now. BTFD, buy that freaking dip. And when investors are getting too greedy, that means the market is due for correction. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. Skybridge Capital founder Anthony Scaramucci says that the macroeconomic factors will become more accommodating to Bitcoin, allowing BTC to rally to six figures in the coming months. Send it. In a new interview with Market Watch, Scaramucci says that historic inflation rates in the U.S. will become way better within a year. The hedge fund veteran also says that the current geopolitical tensions between Russia and the Ukraine will have a limited impact on the global economy in the longer term, citing the flurry of sanctions against Russia from the West. And quoting him here, I predict that these wars will not last that long because of the pain being inflicted in a society with that type of economic crippling. It's one thing to put on some mild sanctions here and there, but the West is basically dismantling the infrastructure and the wealth around Vladimir Putin and his inner circle. That is a very big step step that the Western democracies are taking. I see things a little differently. I feel like Biden and the West are working along with Russia and Putin. But hey, that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts. Now, Scaramucci says that even if the war persists, its effect will probably end up being less disruptive. Moving forward, as he shares here, this could be an Afghanistan situation for Russia where it goes on forever, but it will not create supply shocks once the free market system adjusts for it. Now, the only free market system I'm aware of is Bitcoin. Name another. Now check it. As inflation and geopolitical tensions cool off, the Skybridge Capital chief says Bitcoin stands to benefit. That's right. According to Scaramucci, Bitcoin is attracting investors due to its potential for growth. He predicts more than 1 billion wallets will hold Bitcoin by the end of 2025. As he predicts here, I see Bitcoin in its current status as an early adopting technological asset. I think Bitcoin will be used by many Latin American countries as legal tender over time. Not just El Salvador, but other countries. When it gets to 1 billion wallets, then I think as a mature asset, we could have a conversation about whether or not it operates as an inflation hedge. And according to Scaramucci, the surge in adoption rates could send the Bitcoin price soaring to $100,000 in the next 12 to 18 months. I am still firm in believing that the Bitcoin price is likely to break that critical six-figure mark this year, but that's just me. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments right down below. But all right, now let's break down our final story of the day. Popular crypto strategist is outlining a path for a strong Bitcoin breakout en route to a fresh all-time high. Anonymous crypto analyst Pentoshi tells his 526,000 Twitter followers that he sees a potential scenario where the king crypto continues to print bullish higher low setups and ignites a parabolic rally to $72,000. Quoting him here, instead I now offer an alternative. I believe we should change direction and head for option 2. And in this chart he shares, it shows you the Bitcoin price rallying above $72,000, which is an upside potential from the current price of over 83% from where we're currently at. Now Pentoshi, who has been a Bitcoin bear in the past few months, is now starting to lean bullish as he says Bitcoin could receive an influx of demand in the coming weeks. The crypto strategist says that one key catalyst for a Bitcoin rally is the intention of the Ethereum competitor Terra/Luna to buy around $1 billion worth of Bitcoin to add to its reserves. Quoting him here, my boy Duquan about to add $1.2 billion worth of BTC to their reserves, I'd guess starting next week. And it's showing you this tweet from Duquan on the 11th, which says TFL has donated 12 million additional Luna and the funds will be burned to mint UST and therefore used to grow LFG's reserves. At current prices, this reflects another 1.2 billion incoming in addition to the UST reserves. And he also tweeted here, the Terra protocol will be one of the largest hodlers of Bitcoin. Sailor, beware, let's freaking go. Game theory in full effect. Now, another catalyst that can send the Bitcoin price to new all-time highs, according to Pentoshi, is El Salvador's plan to buy $500 million worth of the king crypto through its Bitcoin bonds, as he shares here on crypto Twitter. Man, what if a country like totally buys $500 million worth of BTC in the next weeks and then like use the rest to mine it off a volcano and had this city, a Bitcoin city, and then told the IMF to shove it where the sun don't shine? Very powerful words. It's happening, folks. Now, back in February, Blockstream Samson Mao told BN Crypto that investor commitments for the country's Bitcoin-backed bonds have surpassed $500 million. I would not be surprised if they raised literally $10 billion with their Bitcoin volcano bonds, which may go live as early as tomorrow. And now for a quick recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. 2 years since the big crash, I shared with you the 5 things you need to know in Bitcoin this week, as well as a discussion between crypto and the physical, between Musk and Saylor on this heated debate. And we also discussed hedge fund billionaire Anthony Scaramucci predicting a Bitcoin rally as inflation and war tensions cool down. Also in today's show, we discussed crypto analyst Pentoshi predicting a Bitcoin rally to $72,000 all-time highs and names 2 bullish catalysts for the king crypto. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below. Now for the top 3 comments from yesterday's episode. eCoin wrote, Aloha JV, great show. Hope you had a solid weekend and keep on stacking sats. Cheer. You too, fam, will do. Stacking sats for life. Hodl. Our next featured comment comes from 21 Million Reasons. Not your keys, not your cheese. That's right. Thanks for the reminder, fam, to remove all crypto off the exchanges and move it into cold storage. One love. And our third and final featured comment comes from Tavalucci, who wrote, blah, blah, blah. I want to see Bitcoin at least above $60,000. Well, we all do. So in the meantime, take this as a divine opportunity from God to keep stacking sats, as I much rather be doing so at these prices versus all-time highs. And to be featured on tomorrow's episode, drop me a comment right down below.